Yes, today I'm not on the couch because today it's about science. When we listen to music, when we hear sounds, it's not only about the acoustic perception and sensation. Certain types of music are perceived as something very cerebral, something stimulating our mind, something to think about or analyze. Other types of music will rather be something that we would describe as heartfelt or soulful music that touches the soul, uh, that evokes very strong emotions and feelings. And sometimes maybe we long for music that simply um, grabs us by the legs, or for some people, even the rump. Music can strengthen or even cause various feelings and emotions. There is music that will make us feel happy, cheerful, even euphoric. There is music that will rather give us feelings of melancholia or sadness. And then there's music that will make us feel very active or even aggressive or fearful. Think of various types of music that are even deliberately used to um, trigger certain emotions. Most of all, of course, movie soundtracks, for example, that are composed to set a certain mood or underline a certain atmosphere and a feeling. But also, for instance, military music, which is, of course, among other things, meant to incite the troops and put them in order, more or less. What I am getting to here is that I came across a newspaper article summarizing a study of a team of Japanese researchers who looked into the connection between musical information, perceived body sensations, and also feelings caused by certain types of, not really musical genres, but certain types of harmonics, certain chord progressions. So these guys from the University of Tokyo asked 527 study participants. I guess most of them students, but I'm not sure, to listen to various groupings of chord sequences, always groups of 4 chords, with and the fourth chord being either very predictable or very unpredictable, creating also a feeling of uncertainty. So, and they didn't just come up with chords that they liked. They used a rather complex statistical model to come up with these groupings of chords. And interestingly, they based their model or their choice of chord sequences on over 800 songs from the US Billboard charts. So we are talking about chord progressions used in pop music here. I think that's interesting. And they distinguished between chord progressions that had a low level of surprise and uncertainty for the listeners, and chord progressions where the final chord provided, for instance, a high level of surprise because something different happened, or a high level also of uncertainty because not only was there a surprise element, but also a complete unpredictability, at least based on the perception of the listeners. That's how far I understood this distinction here. If you want to look into the full article on the study yourself, maybe you are a lot smarter than me. and decipher what those researchers did, also in terms of later on the very thorough statistical analyses of all the data. I will leave you a link to the article in the video description. But to give you an example of what kind of chord sequences they used, I brought with me a scientific device. It's the good old trusty acoustic. In this video, please refer to it as a scientific instrument, of course. So this would have been, or this is a chord sequence with a low level of uncertainty and a low level of surprise for listeners. And it would go like this. Chord number 1, chord number 2, chord number 3, chord number 4. Nothing complex, a very basic chord sequence, no surprise there, and you can easily predict what the final chord will be. So it's a very common chord progression. And an example for a chord sequence with a high level of uncertainty in the end was this. Ooh. You probably would have expected an ending like this. But that's not what we heard. Instead, the chord sequence ended with this one. High level of uncertainty, unpredictability, an open chord. And then there are a couple of other chord sequences in the study with chords that should be officially declared illegal. Why do I keep talking about this? What they come up with, I think is quite interesting for people who listen to music frequently. Maybe gives you food for thought, or will make you observe your own perceptions and interoception, your own perception of physical sensations when you listen to music. So very, simplified, some of the outcomes of the study were as follows. Predictable chord progressions were felt by the participants more in the region of the stomach or the abdomen, interestingly, and they were associated or caused feelings of nostalgia, empathy. So maybe that's why we are drawn towards music that fulfills or pleases our expectations. However, the aesthetically more pleasing chord sequences were those where there was a high level of surprise, and such chord progressions and harmonics were located by listeners rather in the cardiac area, and hearing those chord sequences led to the participants feeling happiness. However, when the level of uncertainty, unpredictability in the music was too high, that caused feelings rather located in the head, but not in terms of, mental stimulation, but I would argue probably rather mental overstimulation, because such chord sequences apparently were also associated with irritation or even fear. So listening to music is not only an acoustic perception or phenomenon. Music indeed does things with our entire body, and of course also influences our psychological well-being. Well, that at the end of the day, that's not a new result, and there are hundreds of studies looking into the connection between certain types of music or certain pieces of music and what kind of emotions those pieces of music are associated with. There have been studies in the 1990s in music psychology, but still, I think this is quite an interesting approach, and it would be interesting to combine this kind of study with, physiological measurements, because one weakness maybe of this study is that they relied only on questionnaires, lists that the participants filled out, and self-reporting. So it would be interesting to really look at what happens in the brain when listening to those chord progressions, or what happens with the heart rate. Also, I would argue the level of perceived surprise or unpredictability can be very subjective and differ from participant to participant, depending on what kind of chord progressions you are used to, depending on your um, listening habits. I guess somebody who listens to a lot of free jazz will be less surprised by certain chord sequences than somebody who rather sticks to our Western pentatonic, melodically very pleasing, very simple structures. And then, of course, culture will play a role. I think it's interesting that the University of Tokyo chose US Billboard chart songs, and not, for instance, or didn't compare it, for instance, to traditional Japanese music. So I think there's a lot that can be done in this area, and maybe it will make you listen with more awareness for what you're actually feeling when listening to music. Yeah, a little extra, a glimpse into the world of science. I hope this wasn't too eccentric for you. And don't worry, the next Murdock Music Minute will be back to your usual service with more album reviews, rankings, etc. Stay tuned.